Hi, in this video, I will talk about the safety precautions regarding forklifts. Video objectives. To give an overview of forklifts in use, offshore, forklift uses and component parts, pre-start safety checks, safe operation. This video does not qualify a person to operate a forklift. Practical training for this must be carried out by a qualified instructor. Only competent forklift operators will be authorized to operate forklifts. Practical instruction. The following items must be included as a minimum in a practical instruction lessons. Pre-start inspection, mount and dismount, driving, stopping, and starting including reverse techniques, correct use of handbrake, picking up load, and transporting to designated stacking area, stacking pallets too high, parking and leaving forklift in safe status. It is vital that students receive practical driving instruction from a qualified instructor before any certification is issued. Many incidents have been caused by inexperienced drivers being allowed to move loads unsupervised, and in some cases without adequate time spent behind the wheel of an forklift. The forklift. The forklift is the workhorse in offshore industry when it comes to moving materials in small spaces, such as sack stores on installations. Unfortunately, many incidents occur whilst moving materials, often causing injury, property and environmental damage. To avoid this, it is vital that we understand the safe operation of the forklift. Many of these incidents are caused by poor driving habits, lack of concentration, excessive speed, lack of familiarity with the equipment, poorly carried out maintenance. Basic knowledge. Basic knowledge of forklift safety will help you to avoid incidents, work safer, reduce the risk of injury, damage to property, and to the environment. Thousands of dollars are lost each year due to damage caused in the sack storerooms by careless driving. Not only is this wasteful, but it can lead to personnel slipping on spilled material, environmental incidents, and sometimes hours of unnecessary cleaning up operations. It is important that we all understand the basic principles of forklift safety. Counterbalance forklifts. These are the most commonly used types of vehicles, used offshore and in yards or warehouses. These types of forklifts are the ones you are most likely to have on your installation. If they are looked after and properly operated, they will save endless man-hours of manual handling and reduce the risk of back injury. Component parts. A good operator must be familiar with all the important parts of the vehicle to carry out pre-start and daily checks. All of the main components should be inspected for damage and wear. How many times do you see someone just jump in the seat and start driving the forklift? Would you do this with your own car? Just as a crane operator checks the controls and wires before a lift, the forklift operator must carry out the safety checks and know what to look for. Mast. The mast consists of a set of tracks that contain the chains, which raise and lower the forks, and a set of ball bearings for smooth running. These should be checked for wear and lubrication. Many of the chemicals moved around the sack store are dry material that is spilled, can clog the chains, and cause them to kink. Keep the tracks and chains clean and well greased. Carriage. The carriage is the actual part of the mast that the forks are attached to and cause it to move up and down. Like all moving parts, keep it clean and free from chemicals. Backrest. The backrest is used to support the load being carried and also helps to stabilize the lift during transport. The backrest is mounted to the carriage. If loads are kept as close to the backrest as possible, this will stabilize the load and allow the forklift to carry its full rated capacity. Lift and tilt cylinders. The lift cylinders work in one direction only and are single action. Tilt cylinders move the load in two directions to help spot the load. They are double action. Because these parts are hydraulically operated and have a machine finish, it is vital that they are inspected regularly and kept well lubricated. Overhead guards. For personal safety, each forklift must be fitted with an overhead guard. The guard is only designed to deflect falling objects. Because it is only designed to deflect falling objects, it may not withstand the full impact of a heavy falling object. It may not withstand the impact of a capsize or turnover, nor offer the driver full protection in this type of incident. Tapered and half-tapered forks. Half-tapered forks are designed to move heavy loads, and the thickness increases from the tip to around midway along the fork, where it will be the thickest. Tapered forks are usually found on forklifts designed for light loads and narrow pallets, mainly used for onshore warehouse work. Make sure your forks are set to the widest setting possible for the load, and they are fully inserted into the correct lifting points for each type of load. Most offshore forklifts will be fitted with solid rubber tires. These are specifically designed for smooth indoor surfaces and are ideal for the offshore environment. However, in many onshore facilities, such as warehouses and training centers, there may be large forklifts, which are used outdoors. These forklifts will more than likely be fitted with pneumatic tires. Inspect tires daily for wear and damage. Remember that worn tires on a forklift are just as dangerous as worn tires on your own car, and have been the cause of many incidents involving injury and property damage. Be aware that many corrosive chemicals that are used offshore can cause severe damage to tires and other parts of the forklift. Lifting principles. The forklift uses a fulcrum and lever principle, which enables it to make relatively heavy lifts for its size. On counterbalance forklifts, the fulcrum is located at the drive wheels. This is why it is important to fully insert the forks and to keep the load as close to the backrest as possible each time a load is lifted and transported. Load center. Moving the load center just a few inches away from the backrest can reduce the load to be carried by several hundred pounds. The rated capacity of a forklift is usually based on a 24-inch load center. If the load center is more than 24 inches away from the back of the forks, then the load capacity is reduced. In extreme cases, where the load is not correctly placed, the forklift may even turn over, causing possible injury. Pre-start checks. Check all oil and lubricant levels. Look for leaks from tilt and lift cylinders and all hoses. Verify operation of mast, carriage, tilt, and lift cylinders. Check steering and brakes. Check tires for wear and cracks. Check mast and forks for cracks. Check all safety systems, warning lights, horns, guards and hoisting limits. Check batteries and charging systems. Starting the forklift. Once your pre-checks are complete, start the forklift as follows. Apply the foot brake. Ensure gear is in neutral. Turn the starter key. Check all gauges. Check all controls and safety features. Check steering and brakes for smooth operation. Look at the rated capacity of the forklift on the ID plate. Picking up the load. Approach the load square on, with the forks in the traveling position. Stop 1 foot from load. Drive forward slowly, with forks level, until the load is resting firmly against backrest. Lift load high enough to clear any obstructions. Many loads are damaged before they even get off the ground by incorrect alignment of the forklift and the load. Look over both shoulders. Make sure it is safe, then back out about a foot. Carefully tilt mast to stabilize the load. Look around again and move off if it is safe to do so. Emphasize the need for caution when reversing out of the pickup position, especially in restricted sack stores and passageways. Setting the load down. Approach the set down point slowly. Stop the forklift about 1 foot away. Level the forks and drive in the rest of the way. Lower the load in place gently. Tilt the forks slightly forward to avoid hooking the load. Look over both shoulders, and if safe to do so, back straight out until your forks have cleared the load. Emphasize the need for caution when reversing out of the set down position, especially in restricted sack stores and passageways. Steering the forklift. A forklift handles much differently from a normal car because of its rear steering. The drive wheels are the pivot point, so the rear of the forklift makes a circle around the front. Never turn at traveling speed. Always slow down. This helps keep balance. This is not a go-kart or a rally car. This vehicle can kill, even at speeds of 5 to 10 miles per hour. When turning into an aisle or opening, always stay wide to help the load clear the sides. There will be many narrow openings in which you may have to stack or remove pallets. General safety. Never exceed the rated capacity. Always check to see if the forks are set to the widest adjustment possible for the load. The rated capacity is directly related to the maximum load the fork can lift, the load center and leverage. Where the load rests is just as important as how much it weighs. The closer the load is to the backrest, the heavier the load can be, but the load weight must never exceed the rated capacity. Keep the load as close to the backrest as possible every time. This will reduce the risk of incidents and enable you to control the load better. Always place your forks in the correct position before you make the lift. Ensure your forks are placed in the proper position and do not extend too far out where they can cause damage to property and materials. Always make sure the load is secure before moving off. Improperly secured loads are the cause of many incidents and have been known to kill personnel. Unless your forklift has been fitted with a purpose-built work platform, it is expressly forbidden to raise or lower passengers on the forks. Purpose-built platforms may only be raised or lowered when the forklift is stationary, handbrake applied, and the operator is seated at the controls. Don't drive at excessive speeds, and keep the load where you have full vision. If you cannot see, either reverse or have a banksman signal you. Speed kills, and in the confined space of a sack store mixing area, there is little room for maneuvering at speeds. Always look where you are going and be aware of where other people are positioned in the area. Look how close the forklift is to the person mixing at the hopper. The person doing the mixing is not aware of what is going on, and the forklift operator is definitely not looking behind him. A real recipe for disaster. Slamming on your brakes is very dangerous and can cause you to lose control of the forklift and the load. On some of the larger installations or facilities, there may be more than one forklift operating. Use the think process and communicate. Thank you. Feel free to share this video on Facebook, Twitter, Google Groups, and WhatsApp. You can also share it with your professional network on LinkedIn. If you like this video, hit the like icon. To support us, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for updates. Thanks for watching.